Hey squad, welcome back to a very special episode of The People's Duchess. I'm your Royal BFF, and thank you so much for joining me for this members only live. Look, I would have loved for this live to be open to everyone. However, the video that we're watching, I already know is going to face some stiff copyright with YouTube. So I just wanted to do a members only, and very shortly here, we can go over on Twitch and watch it there. But the video just will not fly on YouTube. But I do think it's really important for people to see. I worked really diligently on this video and I'm really proud of it. So it's a shame actually that YouTube is such a stickler for copyright that you can't even play any bit of video from certain sources unless you have those licenses in place. And having seen firsthand, gone through firsthand this whole copyright system, it is predicated on AI and run by AI. Anyone that uploads any video on YouTube first appears to have the copyright to it, whether it's an original work or not, according to YouTube, even if it's just some random person who absolutely does not own the copyright to the video. YouTube will still say, oh, well, this person posted the video. And now you're using a clip from that video, regardless where you sourced the clip from. I don't source anything off of YouTube. None of my sourcing is YouTube. It is strictly on verified social media platforms, verified clips from verified sources. So YouTube is not trustworthy for that because you can upload anything onto YouTube. It's kind of like Wikipedia. So it's all a bit muddled. And as a result of AI recognizing that, I'm not able to show the video on YouTube, but I definitely still want to be able to, at the very minimum, go over it with members and get a feel. And then that'll let me know how to approach it on Twitch and elsewhere. The video will also be available in the Discord, so you can rewatch it there. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that YouTube will also flag this live, even though it's members only because of the copyright in the content in the video. Some of it's from like the BBC and stuff like that. So they're just really touchy about their content being reused in any capacity. So it might not be available to you as are the other live streams after the stream. If YouTube does say, oh, well, we received a request to take this down from the AP or wherever. So I might not even be able to have the live on members only, but where there's a will, there's a way. So Harry and Meghan are going to Australia. And with the upcoming trip and the noise around that trip, this week has been wild. Thank you so much for your patience and understanding, though, while I sit that one out. I know this channel is known for being forefront of the breaking tea and news, but this week, and with that amount of noise, I just couldn't do it. I'm hearing all this like, oh yeah, the Australian police force has significantly ramped up allegedly because of all the kerfuffle, and I'm just not here for it. The noise is actively tuning that out. For me, it's just I am actively tuning that out. Like, and that looks like for me just like staying completely off of my usual spots on the internet. Just not even being tempted. I have learned about myself that I have to physically distance myself from the source of anxiety if I feel it coming on. So for me, that looks like turning off my devices and not working on my home devices, only working off of my work laptop and my work phone. And I said this a few lives ago, but going back to the 90s, early 2000s era of technology and minding my own business is where I'm at right now. And that's where I want to be. But I won't make you loves miss me for long. I'm still posting my reels. The reels here, right? No, they're shorts. Still posting my shorts. Still keeping you guys very much in the loop with community posts, so you can always check for those updates. But as far as like making a video, I have to do a lot of research, and to do that, I have to be online and I have to go to the usual spots. And the usual spots are just way too hot for me right now. So, but it's nice. I've really learned that this is the way to life. Not everything has to be lived online. Not every decision has to be made with the bottom line in mind. Um, Especially when it comes to like your well being, you have to just prioritize that above all else and above all cost. Um, Especially when people just cannot behave for anything these days. It's a bot economy online, anyways. You can't even be sure that you're talking to real people because so many, like Chris Boozy and myself, have determined that these are not even people, let alone worth the time to be going back and forth with online. So that's how I'm coping these days, and getting acclimated to this way of life has taken a lot of serious thought because obviously I want to be as involved in our community as possible. But sometimes you just have to know when to take a step back. And I've always done that for myself and continue to encourage all of you to also take a step back whenever you need to, not just from our Sussex spaces, but from anything in life that's troubling you, um, anything in life that causes you pause, um, doesn't align with your values. And it's difficult. I'm not going to lie. It's very difficult to have this type of maintenance. It could be um, different. You know, I could be on here 24/7 and work 24/7 on my channel and content. But while it is ultimately quite rewarding, if we're being honest with ourselves, it's also very taxing to be online and exposed to that much tomfoolery, for lack of a better word. It's everything. It's all the things, all the isms, all the everything is just, it's so much tomfoolery going on. And this is why I wanted to go over this video with Diana. I feel like this is a great time to revisit her legacy. There's still a lot of misrepresentation and rewriting of history out there. I'm actually still a bit taken aback, a little surprised when I get the nasty comments about Diana on the posts that I make about her. I'm shocked that that's how it is with these types of people who are so hateful that even when a person has passed away and has been passed away for nearly 3 decades now, the only thing they can do is insults. And I don't think that these are actually people. These would be the people that I think are bots and just trained to react to her name appearing on any code, on any screen. I mean, she did grow up in the ultimate system of patriarchy. That colonialism, boy, that was the ultimate no-no in that system. The roles are very much, I'll give you everything so long as you make us look good, but if you take any bit of this away from us, we will destroy you types. Not unlike Her Royal Highness Meghan's experience after leaving the firm. And I found some very interesting first person narrative about what Diana was going through throughout the course of her time in the royal family. So this is a timeline of that. And without further ado, let's get right into it, shall we?
I'm not going to say anything, babe. But Prince Charles did give us a hint himself. He said we wouldn't have to wait too long. He said we wouldn't have to wait too long. Was he completely off theme? Was he? Sorry, was he completely off theme when he said we wouldn't have to wait too long? Yeah.
And I think roughly since we got engaged, there's been about 100,000 letters.
I'm sure you've been able to look at some of it yourselves. Is there anything that's particularly touched you?
Well, for me, all the things that come from children who've obviously spent hours of work on paintings, pictures, cards, anything like that, and things they've baked at home. It's wonderful.
Baked?
Oh, yes.
Have you had cakes?
Yes. There's so many Smarties, you can hardly see what it is. And it's lovely. Really nice.
You had a very special collage from the children at the kindergarten.
Yes, I collected it last Friday when I went to the end-of-term party, which I ended up being bashed and bruised. And there's so many children crawling on top of me.
What does it actually show on the collage?
Well, it's the firework display that's going to happen on Tuesday. The one I'm not going to.
Why is that?
Because I'm going to be tucked up in bed, I think, early night.
Not allowed to see me anywhere the night before.
Well, no.
Well, we might
Even
quarrel.
by the light of an exploding firework.
You're going to have time for the private life, for making a home.
You're the one with the domestic
Are you looking forward
responsibilities.
to making a home at Highgrove, for example?
Oh, yes, very much so. Looking forward to being a good wife.
How do you like Balmoral as a place?
How do you cook the breakfast, John?
Mijn blessa cardod e Gymru, hoffwn ddod eto yn fian. Diolch yn fawr.
Prince Charles also joined in, and the princess, now very much more relaxed, provided the translation.
I do hope that bore some relationship to what I meant to say, which is basically that it's a very great pleasure for me to come to Wales and to its capital, Cardiff. I look forward to returning many times in the future. And also, I'd like to just add how proud I am to be princess of such a wonderful place, and the Welsh people who are very special to me. Thank you.
We have two very special guests in the studio, their Royal Highnesses, the Prince and Princess of Wales. Your Royal Highnesses, may I first welcome both of you to the school.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
I'm pleased too. Now for all of our students on air today, good morning, girls and boys. Does Prince William have a favourite toy?
Jamie, he loves his koala bear he's got. But he hasn't got anything particular. He just likes something with a bit of noise. He got a plastic whale that throws things out the top, little balls.
But it's a penalty of the job that
Yes.
you can't behave as you used to.
I think that's probably just as well, if you knew how I used to behave.
But did you know what you were taking on in that kind of sense? Not being able to just walk down the street?
No, I didn't.
Did you find it difficult to adapt?
I did, yes. Purely because there was so much attention on me when I first arrived on the scene, and I wanted to get my act together, so to speak. And I had so many people watching me, and the pressure was enormous. But as years go on, it gets better. But you're still learning all the time.
Due to the recent developments in the British press, what are your feelings as you go back to your country today?
I've had a very interesting and valuable visit, and I hope we can now look forward to the future and not hang on to the past.
I see. It means you have confidence in the future?
I do. Thank you very much. I do.
Act together. It means hours going through letters, documents, and briefing papers. And with less time to see friends, she's quite a letter writer. She's also an enthusiastic photographer. Her sitting room is full of her own photographs of her family. She defines her role as a wife and mother first.
What's this?
My jacket.
Well, the Corporal and Lance Corporal Harry get on pretty well together.
Hey!
Prince Harry is less extrovert, but like Prince William, he's a keen para. He's getting into training, looking after his uniform. But when a soldier is slow to follow orders, his mother has her own tactics for bringing him into line.
Quick, Mary, we'll go. All right, Harry will have all the fun then. No, it's all right.
No!
Oh, yes.
The reception?
Yes.
The record of music?
Yes.
You worked the other day, didn't you?
Well, because...
Diana at her boys' sports day was a scene from a more modern monarchy, showing how being closer to the people doesn't mean losing their respect. And you have to respect a mother of two who can run like that. But then Diana had excelled at sport as a child.
The Princess arrives in the heart of Brixton to visit a new kind of day centre, although Fleet Street's more interested in her hemline. Is it or isn't it below the knee? Following the Duchess of York's appearance in an on-the-knee outfit yesterday, there's increasing speculation about a mini royal-inspired fashion revival. Inside, down to business, meeting Brixton mothers and children at a new-style Dr. Bernardo centre catering for families with special needs. Afterwards, a specially penned farewell song. Make up your own minds about that skirt.
For many young people, family life is not always a happy experience. They may have been thrown out of their homes, or circumstances may have forced them to leave. Some are homeless. Others are at risk of drug addiction or prostitution. It's even more of a challenge if such young adults are themselves parents. I know that family life is extremely important, and as a mother of two small boys, I think we may have to find a securer way of helping our children, to nurture and prepare them to face life as stable and confident adults. Today, few children lose parents through early death, but many do experience that loss through divorce, and increasingly more complicated families result from separation and remarriage. These children's experience of family life may be different, but I do not believe it need necessarily be any less satisfying or effective.
Looking rather reluctant before the persuasive professor led her off to the piano, apparently her forte. Without further fuss, she dropped her bag on the floor and plunged into Rachmaninoff's complicated Concerto No. 2. failed, her princess looked for an escape, but Henri the maestro felt a congratulatory kiss was in order. Now it wasn't only the southern sun that reddened her cheeks as the blushing princess almost ran for cover, clearly embarrassed at her musical debut. Jeremy Thompson, ITN, Melbourne.
I wrote a song called Dirty Diana. And it's not about Lady Diana, it's about certain kind of girls that hang around concerts or clubs. You know, they call them groupies. I've lived in that all my life. You see these girls, they do everything with the band and, you know, everything you can imagine. So I wrote a song called Dirty Diana. But I took it out of the show in honor of Her Royal Highness. And she took me away and she said, "Are you gonna do Dirty Diana?" I said, "No, I took it out of the show because of you." She said, "No, I want you to do it. Do it. Do the song." And she told me she was honored to meet me. And I said, "It's an honor to meet you."
Ladies and gentlemen, I must admit to having been rather puzzled when I heard of the Family of the Year award. I hadn't realised that Family Life was a competition, let alone one which we got prizes for. However, I quickly discovered that far from singling out one perfect example of family life, the award is really intended as a tribute to the thousands of families whose daily lives are constructive, loving, and unselfish. These are the families who give of their best to each other and to society, while quietly coping with a daunting array of pressures. In this room, there is no shortage of experts on the subject of marriage breakdown. I'm sure that they all have at their fingertips the statistics which prove the damage of divorce, felt in education, employment, crime, even in the national economy. I know also, from my own visits to their offices around the country, that the experts of Relate have daily contact with the distress which underlies these statistics. Marriage offers stability, and maybe that is why nearly 7,000 couples a week begin new family lives of their own. Sadly, for many of these marriages, reality fails to live up to expectations. When that happens, most couples discover and draw on new reserves of love and strength. But for many, their own resources are just not enough. More than mere guidance, Relate offers some marriages the support which will strengthen them to overcome a crisis. To others, it offers hope through and after divorce. In short, Relate helps people keep going. In ways too often unnoticed, its work enriches and supports the fabric of society. This may all seem a far cry from the Family of the Year, but we should remember that the award celebrates the victory of very simple values over the very complex difficulties confronted by so many modern marriages. I offer my congratulations to all families who remain cheerful, positive, and loving in adversity. And I also offer my support to everyone who helps them in this task. The opportunity is simple. HIV does not make people dangerous to know, so you can shake their hands and give them a hug. Heaven knows they need it. What's more, you can share their homes, their workplaces, their playgrounds, and their toys. We all need to be alert to the special needs of those for whom AIDS is the last straw in an already heavy burden of discrimination and misfortune. Due to fear and prejudice, many still do not want to listen. After all, AIDS is a killer. The uncharitable have found the AIDS issue fertile ground to air their prejudices. If their views were voiced to help fight the disease, that would be fine. However, too often their attitudes reveal only their own narrowness of mind and a sad lack of common humanity. AIDS is no respecter of colour, class or creed, nor does it hold international boundaries in high regard. All too soon, we will all know someone with AIDS. A brother, sister, mother, father, son or daughter could be next. How will we treat them? With compassion and care, or fear and rejection? Hope for the present owes much to those people who have dedicated their lives to giving AIDS patients the help and support they so desperately need to carry the heavy burden of our fear, ignorance and prejudice to their graves with such dignity and courage.
Question.
What? Come on, get angry with me, yeah?
It's why do some people become addicted? How do we stop people taking to addiction?
Really talk to me.
Taking to addiction or dependence. Sorry, really beyond.
Okay.
Hello.
Because suddenly...
Thank you all.
Start it again, take your time, look at me first, and like, you're the star. Okay, stop it. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Very much. For we recognise alcoholism as a disease in the forms of incapacity for the almost incomprehensible.
Incomprehensible. If in doubt, hit it harder.
An insidious fear.
Insidious fear, yes.
Insidious fear.
Insidious.
Insidious fear. An extreme evil surfaces in people who may previously have seemed unpleasant.
Yeah.
Oh, pleasant. Sorry. Those who become ensnared in addiction are often highly sensitive and creative people.
Your eyes.
Can't do many more of these pages. I'm absolutely cross-eyed.
Well, you can't see it. All right, go back to the. You can go back on. We can do
No,
all this.
no.
Don't have to do a new one.
No, I'm just knackered, all right?
Stop. There's a lovely chunk in there. You were pushing the thing out, and it started to come from you. That's what connects you, and see who we're after. So I'm not manufacturing you. I'm just bringing out that bit of you that wants a voice, which is the 30-year-old woman, 31-year-old woman, who has something important to say. You've got a voice that people want to hear. And you're telling the story. You're a storyteller. And the quality you have, which they haven't got, is that you talk to them from the guts. You know, person of the people. They're scared of that.
So I went to the top lady and I was sobbing and I said, what do I do? I'm coming to you, what do I do? And she said, I don't know what you should do. John said, yes. And that was it. That was help.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will not delay you long, but I would like to add a few words about Turning Point from my own personal observation. On the basis of available statistics, there could be several people here tonight who will reach a state of mental imbalance in the next year or so. Those who feel most immune may be the least secure, especially in this chameleon world. A crisis might be triggered up by the breakup of a marriage, the loss or change of a job, or the trial of an accident or bereavement. Added to such troubles is the stigma of being labelled mentally ill. The fear of gaining such a label may also prevent sufferers from seeking help at an early stage in case they begin an irreversible slide to institutional dependence. If we can do a proper job of giving our children the affection which nature demands, I believe it will help enormously. As I've said before, hugging has no harmful side effects. If we all play our part in making our children feel valued, the result will be tremendous. There are potential huggers in every household. Help for those already caught in drug misuse may be derived from giving a little more understanding and a greater sense of belonging to these people trying so hard to find their stable emotional platform. Ladies and gentlemen, I have it on very good authority that the quest for perfection our society demands can leave the individual gasping for breath at every turn. This pressure inevitably extends into the way we look. Eating disorders, whether it be anorexia or bulimia, show how an individual can turn the nourishment of the body into a painful attack on themselves. And they have, at their core, a far deeper problem than mere vanity.
The princess said she'd spoken to children and adolescent sufferers who are particularly vulnerable.
Perhaps we need to look more closely at the cause of the illness, rather than attempt to suppress it. To accept that putting a lid on powerful feelings and emotions cannot be a healthy option. That to offer women the opportunity to explain their predicament sooner could be a far more effective use of limited resources, rather than wait until their strength to survive has been sapped. As long as the real reasons for their problems go unnoticed and unattended, they will continue to pass on to the next generation their disability. If we, as a society, continue to disable women by encouraging them to believe they should only do things that are thought to benefit their family, even if these women are damaged in the process, if they feel they never have the right to do anything that is just for themselves, if they feel they must sacrifice everything for their loved ones, even at the cost of their health, their inner strength, and their own self-worth, they will live only in the shadow of others, and their mental health will surely follow. But if we can help to give them back their right to fulfill their own potential and to share that with their family, children, or friends, maybe fewer women would find themselves living a life that is bleak beyond belief. I have been fascinated by the workings of the heart. It goes without saying that the heart is a crucial organ. We have 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 arms, and 2 legs, but we have just 1 heart. But the wonderful thing about the Brompton Hospital is that though we have just 1 heart, most of us can be given a second chance. And that's why I'm delighted to be here this morning to support the launch of this book. It is my hope that it will lead to many second chances for those who will be in need in the future. It was so interesting. So when I came here last time, we did a group session, and you asked all the ladies to name something positive they'd done in the week. Yes. And it was quite a stumbling block for some of us, because people had to really think. If you asked them what the negative aspects of the week had been, you would have been flooded. But because it was positive, we all had to really think hard. Do you remember? Yeah. As many of you are aware, I have a particular interest in this cruel disease. I know that some of us sitting here have lost loved ones to this illness, and this adds poignancy to such an occasion, as it highlights that cancer is capable of striking anyone at any time. To people facing fear, pain, and even the stigma of cancer, they and organizations like them are a beacon of hope.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone needs to be valued. Everyone has the potential to give something back if only they had the chance. Centrepoint values each and every young person that turns to it for help and gives that chance. That is why I wanted to share this message with you this morning, and that is why we must continue our support. We, as part of society, must ensure that young people who are our future are given the chance they deserve.
As a parent, could I ask you to respect my children's space?
Yes. No problem at all.
Because I brought the children out here for a holiday,
Right.
and we'd really appreciate the space.
I understand that.
And I'm sure
Would
as
it be possible to just get a picture of
No.
this afternoon, and then we can totally leave you alone? Just do that with Miss Stephen, and I'll leave you alone.
No. We've had 15 cameras following us today.
I haven't been one of them.
No, but as a parent, I want to protect children. Thank you.
As a wise songwriter has said, I believe that children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. So congratulations on the last 10 years and the best of luck for the next. Thank you.
That's fine. Let's get him behind me. He's Dr. Yeah. A lot of people, when they catch cancer and have cancer, they give up. You know, but
There's always hope.
always hope. Always.
Ladies and gentlemen, as many of you may recall, it has been 8 years since I last had the pleasure of visiting this special continent. However, it speaks volumes for the people of Australia that despite the passage of time, you still both recognize and remember me. It takes just a brief glance at the television or the newspapers to realize that much of the news is sad news. From international affairs to domestic disputes, there is so much to be concerned about. It is, of course, the duty of those who work as professional journalists to convey reality. But I'm sure you'd agree that much of the news does have a ring of negativity about it, which is why I was so glad to accept this invitation to come here tonight. Because, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have some good news to celebrate. The Victor Chang Cardiac Research Institute is quite literally a positive news story. But good news for whom and why? First, I would suggest it's good news for all Australians. In your country, heart muscle failure is the most common cause of hospital admission for people over the age of 65. Every week, 200 Australians die of heart failure. But those statistics are now being attacked by the work of the Institute. Research is continuing into the causes and variation of heart disease. And those who suffer are now being offered some of the most advanced medical care available anywhere in the world. It's also good news for those medical professionals who are at the forefront of research into the functions of the heart. The Institute has developed itself to studying the working and diseases of the heart. It is researching the effectiveness of cardiac drugs, and it is developing different surgical approaches which can mean the very difference between life and death.
No, that's okay. Can I have a cuddle? Yes, you can have a cuddle. It's you that's done it. No. Oh no, actually, yeah. Sorry, excuse me, for a moment, can I just have? Yeah? No, no, you're fine, you're fine. No, push the red one. Thank you. That's just me, just me. No, no. Sorry. Yes. I think that's probably enough. Okay. Would you like maybe to show business?
This is, oh, that's my sister.
It's an enormous privilege for me to be invited here to Angola in order to assist the Red Cross in its campaign to ban once and for all anti-personal landmines. There couldn't be a more appropriate place to begin this campaign than Angola, because this nation has the highest number of amputees per population than anywhere in the world. The current statistic stands at 1 amputee per 334 inhabitants. This statistic alone is reason enough for why the international community must work together for an end to the use of these weapons. These devices injure innocent victims who might simply be playing or working in the fields. Such people may have played no part whatsoever in civil conflict, yet by chance their lives have been severely, sometimes fatally affected. International estimates suggest that up to 2,000 people every month are killed or maimed by mines around the world. That's one person every 20 minutes. By visiting Angola, we shall gain an understanding of the plight of the victims of landmines and how survivors are helped to recover from their injuries. We'll also be able to observe the wider implications of these devastating weapons on the life of this country as a whole. It is my sincere hope that by working together in the next few days, we shall focus world attention on this vital, but until now largely neglected, issue.
There may be controversy at home, but the princess's frontline campaigning continued in Quito, thought to be the world's most heavily mined town. She'd been briefed about the political row her visit had attracted, but seemed genuinely taken aback by the criticism, and particularly the description of her as a loose cannon.
Government Minister's home has said you're a loose cannon by supporting this campaign. Do you have any reaction to that?
Jenny, I'm only trying to highlight a problem that's going on all around the world.
It's been said, though, that you're aligning yourself with Labour policy. Do you think that's wise?
Labour? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what
we have really to keep the programme going.
Thank you very
much.
Through all her travels, she's never encountered devastation on such a scale, but this is the new working princess, not shy of politically sensitive issues.
Oh, my really makes me burst into tears now. Who said I'm a loose cannon?
Which one do you want to ask? The most moving moment?
We have the most moving moment. Can we ask you to ask you that question about the political role?
I would have thought that was the most important question out of the two. I'd go for that one. No, I mean the one saying I'm not a political figure.
Yes, exactly.
Were you surprised at the political furore that came out as a result of your visit here to Angola?
I saw it merely as a distraction because I'm not a political figure. I am a humanitarian figure, and always have been, and always will be. I do things differently because I don't go by a rule book, because I lead from the heart, not the head. And albeit that's got me into trouble in my work, I understand that. But someone's got to go out there and love people and show it. I'd like to be a queen of people's hearts, in people's hearts.
All right, and that's all she wrote. I love everything about Princess Diana. I think that she was really revolutionary. These curated clips are for a reason and very specific. I feel like the things that she said back then are still as relevant now, especially when she was in Australia and talking about how there are so many things to be concerned about every which way you look in the news. It's all negative news, and it's not coincidental that that's the case. History quite literally always repeats itself because we have the same cycle and the same types of people just pushing that cycle, and the same narratives that were true back in 1996 are still very much true 30 years later. So nothing has really changed except the times. There's new people in power, but like she made so much sense in the things that she used to say. And I feel like a lot of it was talking directly to the royals, especially when she was discussing how difficult it was to maintain this image of perfection and not letting a woman progress outside of doing things for her family. That was like lifted directly from probably the pages of her diary. She wasn't shy about that. And I think for that reason, more than anything else, is why they made sure that she was downplayed and cast into this light as someone who shouldn't be taken seriously, having mental instability and so on and so forth. Hey, Diane, what a perfect entree of reminders as the Sussexes embark upon meaningful work in Australia. But sitters, I was like, wait, what? What's wrong with babysitters? Sitters will always find fault with those working to help others. Bravo to Princess Diana. Yeah, like it's clear to see that the problem that they really had with her was that she wasn't shy about telling people what she was going through. She asked them for help She said she went to the senior most person. It's so similar. We have a lot of parallels here. She talked about going to the senior most person and saying, I need help. And the lady gave her some very flippant answer. And she was like, how is this help? And mind you, she's like 21, 22 at the time. Wait, no, that was 92. So she was 31 at the time. But still quite young. I mean, she hadn't really had a lot of a life experience outside of the royal family. So there's so many things that, looking into the clips and looking into this timeline progression of her life, I can pinpoint exactly where things went left. I think we've all come to know that the breakdown occurred once she started showing that she wanted to do things outside of the royal family, like actually help. The smoke and mirrors did not suit her. She wasn't really able to pretend like she didn't, like she cared. She did care. She cared a whole lot. The things that she saw affected her very deeply, and that wasn't part of the programming. You're supposed to be mannequin-like. You're supposed to be robotic. You're not supposed to have feelings of your own, stiff upper lip, and the whole nine. So the fact that she did have feelings, the fact that people overwhelmingly responded to that versus Charles and others, where they kind of, mildly respected them, but they weren't overwhelming in their support. They weren't gung-ho like they were with Diana, because she cared. And you can see that she cared quite deeply. And I don't know why that's a problem for them. I'm not sure why caring is the ultimate grievance. Doing your own thing and giving a dang apparently are just two big, huge no-nos in that family. So, yeah, the comparisons can be made. And I just wanted to go over this video because it's important to refresh. They are attempting to rewrite some of these speeches and tell you the opposite of what she was saying directly to them. I'm seeing discourse and dialogue about how she would have somehow been a royalist. I don't know. I know it's just rage bait. Don't get me wrong. That's rage bait. But they are in these royal circles attempting to just say the incorrect thing over and over and over again, hoping that it sticks. So it's important to refresh our minds, and part of the never forget, keep her in your hearts, is to always remember what she actually said and not what the media spin or any of the talking heads spin on her words at the time. Always to remember that they're not accurate, right? If you want the answers to something, and especially when it concerns a person, what better source than the person themselves, right? So I'm going to wrap that up for Saturday morning. Thank you so much for hanging with me. I'm surprised actually that this live didn't get taken down. I did get a copyright notice in the middle of the live, but I expected that because there are some clips that I definitely expected that to pop up. But thank you so much. Shout out to Diane Hawkins in the chat and anyone else who is watching. And hopefully this won't come down and you'll be able to rewatch it on the Replay Gang. So if you're a Replay Gang watching right now, shout out to you members as well. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday, guys. Please take the time, okay, for yourself out there. Yeah, Diane, thank you so much for listening, but yeah, take your time out there, guys. Take the scenic route and if possible, take the time for yourself. I understand that it's really important to maintain those relationships with family and friends, and that's great, and our community, fabulous, but whenever you need to and as often as you need to, never feel bad about taking the time for yourself, even if it's just a moment a day, 10 minutes a day, 15, 20 minutes a day, to do some deep breathing in a room somewhere where you're just completely tranquil. And if that's not possible, at the very minimum, I don't know, throw some blankets over your head and create a little cocoon. Do what you can with what you have, basically, and just take that time for yourself. It does sound like pretty generic advice, and I'm sure that y'all are into a lot of deep relaxation exercises. So I probably don't have to tell you this, but, you know, take the time. Blessed Saturday to you too. Yeah, thank you so much, Diane. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, guys. Please be safe out there. Be kind to yourselves. And until next time, bye for now.